So, just finished a little nap. Actually, it was a Huberman Labs non-sleep deep rest relaxation thing. I can never remember the acronym. Which is really nice because I only have a short amount of time before my daughter wakes up from her nap, and I needed a little R&R. Anyway, I just suddenly thought in my head, it's been really busy today, but it's not been particularly stressful. And the reason for that is I was just sort of flowing. There was no pressure on myself. I sort of said to myself this morning, right, no pressure, but there are things to get done today, such as batch cooking, wanted to go for a little sort of walk run thing to help my body and my mind. Mum was over and just there was things to sort out. And I thought, actually, you can put pressure on yourself, right, and get stuff done, but that's really stressful. The best things happen, whether it be in sport or whether it be in work or life in general, when you're in a sort of people can call it a flow state. It can be a flow state, it can be in the zone, it can be loads of different things. And I think what those states are, when you're, let's call it in the zone, when you're in the zone, you're proactive and doing what needs to be done with zero overthinking. You think what's necessary, but zero overthinking. You're not creating stress. You're not creating anxiety and panic and over rushing, which can get yourself into a tangle. You're just being, you're just doing. So yes, you probably are thinking about it a bit. But I think that's what a lot of the spiritual sort of teachers talk about, being at one and all that sort of thing. And the coaches that, tennis coaches, talk about that sort of state that you go into. Now, I think some people can deliberately put themselves into a state that is that. But I think when people do it naturally, they're just basically forcing themselves, although maybe they don't realise it, to not overthink things and just do action upon action, but in a very, very steady, very methodical, very balanced way. So I think you can only achieve it when you're emotionally regulated and when you've just taken a step back, got out of your head and just taking those action points, but with a lot of balance and consideration without overthinking. And I think if I apply that back to windsurfing when I was at my best, either at practice or in actual races, it was when I knew what needed to be done. There was sort of not really any thought in my head there was no doubt, but there's not really anything. There was maybe a bit of visualization, but in the moment, in that day or in that race, in my case, it would be purely, I was in it. And I talk about people being in it when someone's really good at, I don't know, guitar. Like I used to watch Lindsey Buckingham, Fleetwood Mac, he'd just be in it. Travis Barker, I think it is, the drummer from Red Hot Chili Peppers. No, I've got that wrong. Where's he from? Travis Barker. Got tattoos. Not Red Hot Chili Peppers. That's someone else that looks like... What's his face? Anyway, I'm getting myself into a tangle. Musicians. Everyone's just in this flow state. And I think that's what you see when anyone's really good at something. You sort of have to wonder, isn't it? How much of it is the state they've got their mind into that makes them really good? Or the practicing? Or is it a bit of both? Must be a bit of both. You could put yourself in a flow state, but be really shit at guitar. You're not going to get anywhere. So it has to be when you've got enough of a blend of competence at the activity and mindset. And maybe there's conditions as well, but I think maybe we influence enough with the mindset to be able to do the activity. and maybe all the practicing of said activity. So maybe that's the thing. Maybe when you're not very good at something, so say your mental health's a bit rubbish at the minute and you want to work on it, you need to practice it, right? So the more you practice these things, your flow state, the more you'll be able to go into it. And maybe it's like that with everything. Excuse my nose, got a bit of a cold. So yeah, anyway, it's just musing about what makes a day good, or what makes us good at something, or have a really productive, I don't know, writing session, or band practice, or gymnastics session, I don't know, running. It's anything, isn't it? It's anything. Maybe that's why impromptu outs and night outs are good, because we're not overthinking, over planning, over analysing, trying to make it something it's not. We are in it. We're in the flow. We're in the moment. We are totally accepting of the now. But maybe making things happen as well. You know, when you're out, you are talking to that person. You are grabbing that drink in. You are going to that place for a dance. You are calling that friend last minute to come out with you. You are grabbing that pair of heels that you haven't worn for a while, or whatever it is. You're just in that flow. And that's how it joins up with not overthinking things in, you know, their self-help books, not giving a fuck about certain things, not being out of the moment, you're being in the now in terms of the spirituality, you know. And this is how all these paths, they all join together. All these paths that we look at, all these books that we read, all of these YouTube things we watch, they all join together. They're all one and the same, aren't they, I think? And that's how we apply it to our lives, and how we apply it to our days and things. Just getting that understanding that it's all really the same thing. And maybe it's easier to apply than we think. That's it. She's not awake yet, so I'm going to take some more relaxing time. See you soon.